The Christmas Party by Karen Swan. Read by Aoife Mcmahon. Prologue. The letter slipped from the book like a leaf falling from a tree, silent as a yacht peeling from its mooring and gliding out across the water, defiantly free. She stared at it. The writing was familiar, and yet she couldn't place it. The uppermost edge of the envelope was jagged from where it had been ripped open in haste, the swirl of the E at the end of the name bleeding softly into the vellum. A drip of champagne, perhaps? Or a teardrop? It was just a letter, and yet the instinct quivered through her that there was weight in its tucked-away words. Like a doe in the grass, she sensed a threat she could not yet see. An innocuous moment had suddenly turned critical, and now everything pivoted on what would come next. Breath held and still, she ran her eyes over the script, seeing at once that the game was already in play, understanding that she had already lost. Like the doe, she had only one viable choice. Run. Chapter 1. Tuesday, 26th of November, 2019. Lorne Castle, Kilmally, Ireland.
Nobility is nothing but ancient riches. Oh, Christ, he's pissed.
Pip whispered in her ear as Ottie arched a sceptical eyebrow, their father's voice echoing around the galleried hall.
Yes, you heard me right, to be sure you did,
Declan Lorne insisted.
Devil be damned, it means no more to me than the socks on my feet.
As if to prove the point, he shook off one of his velvet slippers, embroidered with the family crest in gold thread, to reveal his pale big toe poking through the end of a red sock. A murmur of shocked amusement rippled through the crowd.
Dec!
His wife quietly admonished him, with a despairing, ladylike shake of her head.
Those were new, too.
The murmur broke into a skitter of guffaws as he looked around delightedly at the gathering of friends and family who'd made the tricky and somewhat arduous trek to be here. Save for the villagers and those arriving by helicopter, it was an hour drive from Cork Airport, with half of that spent on single-track lanes, navigating slow-moving dairy herds and bridging fords.
It's important I make the point, my beloved,
he said, looking over at her with fiercely loving eyes.
I don't want a single person in this room to leave here tonight thinking I give two hoots about the damn title stopping here with me. I don't. God gave us 3 wild, precociously talented, beautiful daughters, and I wouldn't change a one of them for some name.
He definitely would have traded me in after that time I cleaned his gun with Vaseline, Pip whispered, leaning in again and jogging her with an elbow.
If he could have caught you,
Ottie replied, grinning at the memory.
You slept in the boathouse for 2 nights, I seem to remember.
Pip waggled her strong dark eyebrows, a mischievous glint in her green eyes. With her ragged auburn crop, constellation of freckles and rangy boyish frame, she looked like an overgrown leprechaun contemplating wreaking havoc. Aye, and by the time I skulked back, he was so relieved to see me, he'd forgotten why I ran in the first place. You always could twist him round your little finger, Ottie tutted. Ha! Pip scoffed. That was one of my rare successes. You got away with murder. Me? Ottie hissed back, scandalised. Don't play the innocent, Pip grinned. You've always been his favourite, the firstborn, little Miss Perfect. The smile faded on Ottie's face. She knew exactly what she was, and it wasn't that. The champagne-fueled light in her eyes dimmed as she watched her father holding out his arm, their mother slipping into the crook of it like a silken fox. He kissed her on the cheek to a chorus of ahs. This was, after all, their 30th wedding anniversary party, and amongst their peers, theirs was the...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?